contribution, to make sure that that contribution is being used in the best possible way, in the way that was intended by the person who gave this. And so very interesting definitions of economy in that sense. So mind and body, and then Baba specifying that, yes, even if you're doing a lot of vocal service, but if you're not doing physical service, then that also is going to be less marks. And so Baba's going to look at each one category to see that there are sufficient things adding up within that. But the other thing that was beautiful about this subject of the physical aspect of service in the yajna, Baba connected that to relationships and how we interact with each other, and to what extent there is that situation where my relationships are of the caliber that I want them to be and Baba wants them to be. And so it really was a very different dimension of Yajna Seva for me, and highlighted a very important part, because of course, whatever is the quality of interaction amongst the people, in particular first at the center, but then of course, wherever they may be, but in particular at the center, that is what creates the atmosphere. And if the atmosphere is one of peace, of love and respect and harmony, then that's the vibration that is going to reach out, and others are going to be drawn to Baba's home and take benefit from Baba's home. They leave their place of chaos and they come to a place of chaos, and it's not very useful. But if they come to a place where they can feel in a tangible way the peace, the love, the purity, the harmony, then they'll say, yes, this is something I need to do. I need to benefit from this. And so my interactions with everyone around me can also be considered as Yajna Seva. And of course, the other way around also. If my interactions are not as they should be, that also then becomes a source of disservice, and I'm responsible for that. And so Baba's saying that let the interactions be such that everybody takes inspiration and is able to take benefit from this. So lots of interesting comments from Baba. And two more things that I want to highlight. Baba saying that when you first come to Baba, everything seems to be fine. You're in your honeymoon period, you're happy, you're elated, everything is going well. And then maybe after 5 years, between 5 years and 10 years, something goes out of balance. And then that's when you become tired, or that's when you get bored. And then you say, well, what am I doing all this for anyway? But if you make sure you keep that balance of yoga, remembrance, sadhana, as well as service, then with that balance, you'll always be filled with new enthusiasm. And for people who've been in Gyan between, say, for example, 10 years, well, think about the happiness you had in year 1. Now, surely it should be 10 times more by the time you're in Gyan 10 years. And it should be 20 times more when you've been in Gyan for 20 years. And how come that's not happening? And Baba saying that it's because things are out of balance. And so that's when you've got bored, and so your effort has slowed down. But actually, the reason is that you yourself are not focusing on what you need to do. And so then, because things are out of balance, no blessings, and so things go downhill. But within that, if there is that attention, then there's always going to be newness. And it's something I definitely saw in Dadi Prakash Mani and Dadi Janki. Although they would have read each Murli several times before it came round now. Dadi used to read the Murli, both Dadis, sometime in the afternoon, again at night, again in the morning after Amrit Vela, and again in the class. And so minimum of 4 times. And both daddies used to keep the Murli by their bedside table, and Daddy Janki also by the table in her sitting room. And whenever she had a moment, she'd pick it up and glance at it. And obviously it would trigger many thoughts about the Murli. Just picking it up and seeing it for even 10 seconds, a few words, and the whole Murli would emerge in her consciousness. And so how come they were so interested in the Murli all the time in this way? It's because they were able to see something new in every Murli, every single time. And so can I have that same enthusiasm and that freshness and attitude of love and approach the Murli with these factors? Then there'll be something new for me that I take every single day that I hear the Murli. And as I apply it in my life, I'll see the beauty of the Murli, but also it'll make me realize how much more I need to do in terms of effort, not hard labor, but gentle, natural effort that's giving you the experience of being in Baba's presence. So these were some of the main things that Baba covered in this Murli. The feeling I get from the Murlis that we've been hearing recently is that Baba is really, really trying to lift us to move forward fast. And Baba speaking at that time in 1990, of course, Baba was inspiring everyone to move ahead fast. But today, it's very, very relevant that Baba is reminding us that this is the time. If I want to change, it's now. There's not going to be another opportunity later. So hand over to Arunaben. Om Shanti. Egypt's a bit of an adventure at the moment. And the last few weeks has been adventures for me also, with being in India a couple of times, in Madhuban, and now here. And next week I'll be in Ahmedabad on my return journey home. So that's it. We've got Aruna back with us.
Hi, gentlemen. I'm so sorry. It keeps throwing me out.
We understand. It's fine.
Thank you so much for that. Well, I have a few questions from the week, from people's discussions with us. So let us begin with, somebody was asking, what are the features? When Baba says features, what does he refer to? Face and features.
Baba's really talking about the qualities that are within, that are then visible outside. And so the face will reflect the features of the soul. So it's not how beautiful my eyes are or how straight my nose is, but the features are the aspects of the soul that become visible through the face, through the eyes. Baba actually mentioned the eyes. The eyes of someone with purity will look very, very cool, very gentle, serene. Serene's the right word, nirmal, pure and serene. Yeah.
Great. Thanks. And then 4 together, mind, intellect, heart, and body. Gentlemen, can you hear me now?
Okay, I heard you say mind, intellect, heart, and body, and then it stopped after that.
Yeah, so this is such a elevated stage to attain. I don't think, well, I'm not me, but the discussion was going in this way, that it's a very humongous task, and maybe Baba's asking a lot. I mean, it's a very elevated stage, because it's like, you know, you playing bingo and getting the number right, or shooting darts and getting the center point. I mean, it's a very elevated stage. Is it just that Baba wants us to strive for the highest? And also, do you have any methods on how to synchronize mind, intellect, heart, and body?
Firstly, synchronizing mind, intellect, heart, and body is a very elevated stage, but we've seen it in the daddies. We've seen them totally focused, absolutely absorbed in God's love. And it's not just when they're sitting in yoga, but later on, you see it again as they walk, as they move. And even when they're meeting people, you can see that they're absolutely focused in everything inside. And so what's coming out when they meet people is something that's very special. And so it is elevated, but surely all of us say that we want to be Bapsaman, then that is the most elevated goal to have. And this would be part of that journey to get there. So I'm not putting it out of reach, but rather I'm saying that the daddies were able to achieve it. And we always think that, well, they're the role models for us, so can we do it ourselves? And I'm pretty sure that it is possible because we've had a glimpse of it from time to time. So all that Baba's saying is increase it so that then it's there with you more and more, and maybe all the time even. And it's not so difficult in the sense that if I begin with the right feelings, when I say soul consciousness, first in that awareness of soul and peaceful, and then that peace opens the door to love for God, and I experience love for Baba. And in that connection, my heart and my intellect are totally connected with Baba, and I'm feeling Baba's love for me. And so in this beautiful exchange of love, your body isn't moving. Your body is, wherever it is, it's comfortable. And anyway, it's not pulling your intellect on any level. And so the body is still, and mind and heart and soul are very much connected with Baba. And so we've all had that experience. So Baba's reminding us that this is what is real sadhana. Sadhana is not sitting on hot sand and doing hatha yoga. Sadhana is not walking through fire, because in Bhakti, they have all these strange ideas of all these hatha yoga things that people do, that is sadhana. No, sadhana is just pure, simple remembrance, but accurate remembrance, focused, concentrated, so that there's no distractions or attractions pulling you, but you're totally with Baba, with that love. And so you're also able to receive that experience of love.
Very nice. Thank you, Chintavan. And then somebody had a question, when Baba said that we make mistakes. So even if a person makes mistakes by mistake, is there still a loss? Is there still the burden?
I'm not sure that I've understood your question, because
well, one is to consciously do something wrong, but the other is to unconsciously do something wrong and you didn't intend to. So then is the return the same? Is the burden or the loss the same?
It is. Think about it for a moment. In theory, I know that fire burns, and so I'm careful. I don't put my hand in the fire. But if somebody says, I didn't know that fire burns, and that's why I put my hand in it, well, the hand is still going to burn, whether you knew it or you didn't know it. And so whether you know that this is a mistake or you don't know that this is a mistake, the impact, the fallout of that is the same. And then hopefully the one who did it knowingly, feeling the repercussions, is going to realize and not repeat that mistake. And the person who is ignorant or claims to be ignorant, because Baba says after age 4, then you know right from wrong. And so you do know when you're off track and you're not following Srimad. And so at that point, then it's still going to be a burden. Whatever comes back from that mistake is going to have to be settled in some way or another. So there's going to be sorrow that's coming from any mistake that's made.
Wow. Okay, so no margin for mistake, no excuses actually.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, this was somebody's question to me. Somebody was saying that, say for example, they were given some money, maybe they were going somewhere off to do seva or on holiday, and they were given some money, and it was given as a gift. And then they went off and they did the seva, whatever. And then they felt that the other person wanted something in return as a gift or maybe money back. So anyway, his question is that if we get given something and we have to return it in some way, should we do that or not? Especially when we don't know how they will use it. So what do you do when you get given a gift? Should you reciprocate that gift or not?
The training that Daddy used to give us was that if you receive a gift, then you give it to Baba, you give it to the Yagya. You don't keep it and say, this is my property, because you take what Baba gives you rather than what other human beings give you. And so if I know that this is something that's come from person A, and they're definitely going to expect some sort of return from it, what I would do is to definitely immediately give it to Baba and let them know that, yes, your intentions are wonderful, but I feel comfortable that I give it to Baba. Or you even tell them before you take it, well, you want to give this, but this is what I'm going to do with it. And if they still say that really it's for service, it's not for you, then let me keep track of that. How am I using that fund? Am I using it for service, and even keep an account of it, so that then your conscience is clear. And if at any time you're challenged, you have that this is how it was spent. Because anyway, whatever I spend as somebody surrendered, I have to be showing the account of that to whoever is my senior. Anybody spending Baba's money or money that's been given as a gift has to be accountable on all levels. But hopefully, if they've given you a gift and you've given it to Baba, then they know that this is how you are, and they won't mind. They'll be fine about that.
So this is also when Lokkiks give you, right? It's not just about PK,
Yes.
it's about Lokkiks.
Yes, absolutely. Especially with Lokkiks. I think that when Lokkiks give you money and they say, this is for you to spend on whatever it is you want, then that should send bells ringing in your head. Surely Baba's going to give me everything that I want. Why should I want to keep a stash of what my Lokkiks have given me just simply because I want to use it in my way rather than the way Baba wants it to be used, or in a way that's to the system. And so I know that many people have different interpretations of this. And as an example, somebody said to me that I keep money that Lokkiks give me because, say, for example, I want to travel and the Yagya won't give me funds for the ticket because it's my desire to travel rather than an instruction from the Yagya to go on service. And what is that saying? That my desires are coming in rather than my ability to follow Srimad and follow the directions that seniors are giving me in the Yagya. If seniors say, go here, they'll also then provide the ticket for me. And if it's my desire to go somewhere, then I'm arranging a stash that I've kept away so that then I can say, well, I'm not costing the money, not costing the Yagya any money, I'm spending my own money. But think about it further. My account with my Lokkiks has actually increased. Every time I take something from them, And especially if I'm not using it for service, sometimes I use it for service and I give an account of that to the yajna. But if that's not what it's about, it's simply to buy myself some chocolates when I feel I want to buy chocolates, or, so when it's my desire, for whether it's travel or extra luxuries or anything like that, well, these are the sorts of things that actually interfere in my yoga with God. My desires are coming in the way. It's little things. But the other day, Baba spoke about all the subtle sins that we accumulate as we go along. And that becomes a burden that the soul is carrying. And then if I'm carrying a burden, how can I fly? Those things that have accumulated are going to be there weighing me down.
Okay. Actually, there was another story of Brij Mohanbai. So he wanted to buy a car. And so finally Baba said yes. But then when he parked the car and went into some program, then he kept remembering the car. And he kept thinking maybe the kids will scratch the car. And his attention kept going to the car. And Baba picked this up. Then Baba said, get rid of the car. Baba will give you many vimans in the golden age. So that's kind of in relation to your answer. Gentlemen, there's also this question which came up with us, and it's come up here a few times in the chat, where Baba's saying that a brahmachari soul does not experience constant happiness on the basis of science or knowledge. And of course, Baba means you should be embodiment, not just knowledge, full knowledge-wise. But would you like to explain that? Because some are thinking that Baba doesn't want us to experience happiness on the basis of knowledge. I mean, he does, but he wants us to experience more from sadhana, right? This is the...
Well, if you read that part of the Murli again, then it makes it very clear that one are the facilities of science and the other are the facilities of Gyan. And so Baba's point is that any facility, whether it's Gyan or science, and facility of Gyan means we're using all the facilities now. They are science facilities, but we're using them on the basis of sharing knowledge, of service, and so on. But if these facilities fail, then is that going to take away my happiness? And so Baba's not saying that Gyan shouldn't be your foundation, but yes, Baba is your foundation, but that foundation is a Jnani foundation. So Baba's not talking about the subject within all of this is not Gyan. The subject is facility. Yeah. So if I'm making any facility, now I've got my fancy little gadget, I've got a phone, and everything is there. The Murli is there, service is there, all my contacts are there, so much is there. And something happens to the phone. And I'll be scratching my head and be totally confused, looking for it. Maybe I've lost it, maybe I've dropped it, maybe it's out of action, whatever. My yoga is going to be Om Shanti. And I'll be having yoga with my phone rather than with Baba. And so Baba's saying, even if it's a facility for Gyan, no, that's not something to depend on. And that's not going to bring you success. But your sadhana will definitely help you use all the facilities in the right way, and your happiness will be intact, but also your service will be successful. I had to read that little paragraph a couple of times to make sense of it, because yes, so I can understand where that idea has come. But actually, the Murli is clear.
Yes, thank you. And gentlemen, there was another discussion in the week where somebody was saying that why does Baba go on so much about who is the sermonizer of the Gita? Because this person is saying that isn't the message more important than who actually delivers the message? So why is it that Baba spends so much time talking about Shiva and not Krishna?
Okay, if I say to you, Aruna, do this, do that, do the other, you say, well, Jayanti's telling me to do this and this and this and this. Well, maybe I will, maybe I won't, or maybe I'll do it later because I've got more important things to do now. But if Dadi were to say to you, or if Sakar Baba were here and he were to say to you, Aruna, can you do this? Or Dadi were to say to you, Aruna, will you do this? What would your response be? And so a very different response, right? So the messenger who's giving a message is actually more important than just the message. And especially in the case of the Gita sermonizer, if I've got the image of a human being, a deity, beautiful, 16 celestial degrees, very attractive, royal, dignified, Sri Krishna, but yet the message of the Gita is be detached from the body and all bodily relations and remember me alone. So here am I trying to forget my body, trying to forget bodily relationships, and then I'm getting stuck into a bodily being. And so the message is totally destroyed if I have that image of Krishna and that awareness or notion that Krishna is the one who's giving the knowledge of the Gita. It destroys the message completely. And so this is why Baba is very specific. This is one of the basic essential points that has to be clarified. And in particular with people in Bharat, but that notion of God omnipresent with which all this is linked. Why does Baba talk about it so much? Because my mind is totally scattered when I'm thinking about all of this. God here, God there, God everywhere. I'm not able to connect. And so for the whole wide world, the message of omnipresence, and for Bharatvasis in particular, or those who've studied the Gita, the message that it's not Krishna, it's incorporeal God. And he has not just the authority to tell us, forget the body, because he doesn't have a body, but he has the information that we need to be able to understand who am I as a soul, the living being. There's nobody else who's given us any clarity on exactly what the soul is. And without soul consciousness, I cannot connect with God.
Very nice, Jen. And here's a couple of questions from chat. So somebody's asking, why does Baba always say to follow Mama Baba? Is it not okay to follow practical living examples of today, such as senior BKs?
There'll be different inclinations about different seniors. And even with the daddies, I knew all the daddies, my good fortune to have been able to be with all of them in very intimate ways. And each one had a very different personality. And I won't go into detail about this now, but it wasn't enough just to follow one daddy. You had to follow many of the daddies. But when Baba says follow the father and mother, you don't have to think too much about 5 different people. Just think about Baba and think about Mama. And those examples are amazing. And they actually combine many, many different facets all in one package. And the daddies, yes, they had all the qualities, but different people were inclined to connect with them on a spiritual level and an emotional level in different ways. And you yourself have known many of the daddies, and you know that that's so true.
Yes, gentlemen, thank you. And one last question is, can you define what is the correlation between the seva that's done and the fortune that's received? I mean, I don't know if anything comes to the top of your head, but say, for example, cleaning brings what fortune, or lectures give what fortune, something like that.
Okay, just a very simple thing. If I'm serving you through words, you'll appreciate the value of wisdom, and you'll appreciate how much clarity there is and so on. But if I'm serving you through my thoughts and my words, that's going to touch your heart. My words, you'll say, yes, this was very nice, it was very good. But if I'm in Baba's remembrance as I speak, then as I speak, then it's going to touch your heart and it'll bring you closer to Baba rather than just say, oh yes, this person's a great speaker. And so I'm seeing the immediate impact of different aspects of service. You do some cooking and it's great. You're bringing souls closer to the yajna by giving them good food and healthy food. And so that's good. But if I were to add with what I'm cooking, the power of the mind, that's going to make it more effective. And if, as I share that Brahma Bhojan with you, I'm also use some thoughts of gyan, of wisdom, then that's going to bring you even closer to Baba. So fortune gets multiplied in many different ways. And I know that it's not exactly answering your question, but I'm just thinking that there's different levels of service. And what Baba wants us to do is to have all levels of service all together. The words, the actions. And so I'm not differentiating between sitting at a computer and doing a graphic design for Baba and somebody doing the cooking or somebody doing the cleaning. All are actions. But together with the actions, what is the intention? What is the consciousness? What is the motivation? And I think that determines more what your fortune is.
Yes, and there was another story I heard where, I don't know which Dadi, but she simply saw Baba serving the food. And she just said, okay, I want to surrender to this one. So I think it's not just the action, but as you say, it's what's behind it, who's behind it, the energy. Well, thank you so much, Sister Jayanti. We come to a close now. We'll have some meditation. And I just want to announce that I did announce it in some groups, that we have the question answers on Google Drive. So any question answer that has come up on this revision with Sister Jayanti, you can just go into that and easily find it, and it takes you to the YouTube. It's a very lovely app. It's not an app, it's a drive. It's there now on the chat if you want to copy it. And yeah, you can access all the past questions from there easily. So thank you, Jayanti-ben. Om Shanti to everyone, and we'll have you.
And thank you for putting in all the work and effort to make this happen, but also to make that Google Drive thing happen, because I can imagine it was a lot of work from different people, a big team that put it together. So thank you.
Small team, small team, but yeah, they're getting the blessings. Thank you, gentlemen.
Definitely, sure, okay. Om Shanti.
I will come to you when you are in the silence. Once again I will write upon your heart, and I'll meet you deep inside your inner castle, where together we can take the fear apart. And you've no idea just how much I've missed you. I've been waiting many lifetimes for your call, and I will sing my song of love for those who need, and I will sing my song of love. I will come to you when emptiness surrounds you. Once again I will fill you with my light, and I'll meet you deep inside